Welcome back to No Man's Sky, everyone. Jason here, and this is going to be our beginner's guide for 2025. So hopefully you're either a new player that's just jumping into the game, or you're a returning player from like years ago. You kind of dropped off the game and you want to get back into it. Either way, there's going to be a lot of tips for beginners here. If you're a veteran player, there might be some stuff here and there, but this is going to definitely be aimed at people who are new or haven't played the game in a long time. And I like doing this in the beginning of a year to see all of the additions that we've had for over the past year, previous year. So as always, we will start a brand new save here. I'm gonna go to new game. Now you get a whole bunch of options here. You can go with normal, which most people go with. You can go with relaxed, which kind of makes it easier. There's not as much combat. There's not as much stuff going on. You can do creative, which is like a build mode, which is everything's free. You can just do whatever you want. There's no cost for buying items as well. Survival is a little bit more difficult. This bottom box is always your expedition. So while there's an expedition going on, you'll see it down here. Then we have custom. This is where you can go through and change any of the settings you wish. So if you want to, just, everything normal except for, hey, I want my crafting to be free, and that's it. You can do that here. You can change a whole bunch of settings in here. If you just want to turn off combat, say, hey, you know what? I don't want any combat. You can turn off only combat, keep everything else the same. Whatever your heart desires, you can do it here. I'm going to be playing on the normal setting, the default setting right here. You can also switch it, permadeath if you want a really extreme difficulty setting. Survival, relaxed, creative. These are all, it'll kind of give you the ideas of what their all settings are. Like permadeath is some of the hardest gameplay you will find. So if you really want a challenge, go for permadeath. But I'm going to be playing on normal mode. And again, you can also change this at any time you want. So if you're playing the game and you're like 3 or 4 hours in and you're like, dude, actually I want to turn off combat, or actually the combat's too easy, you can always change this and bump it up. The only time you won't be able to do that is if you lock your settings. So if you go to lock, you will never be able to change this ever again. So keep that in mind. I'm going to keep that enabled. So there we go. And I'm just going to be playing a normal setting. So the beginning of No Man's Sky is a little bit difficult, only because they start you off and it's always going to be on a random hazard planet. Your planet's going to look a little bit different than mine. However, it's always going to be on something that's going to kind of give you a tutorial in the beginning of, hey, this is how you find resources. This is how you fix items, like if you break any of your upgrades or anything like that. This is how you survive. This is how you do all this kind of stuff. First couple hours is going to be that. And now, after that first couple of hours, they do give you the option of, hey, look, you want to go out and do whatever you want? Awesome. But if you want to follow a storyline, you can do that as well. And I highly recommend following the storyline. But we'll get into that when we get there. So this is where they start you off. There's billions and billions of different planets, like more planets than anyone can ever visit. So you're going to definitely see a different planet, and more than likely you're going to start off on a planet that no one has ever found. Every once in a while, they will just throw you on a planet that someone found like 4 or 5 years ago, but that's okay. Either way, you're going to start off on a hazardous planet. This one looks like a fire planet, which is a hot planet. As we're looking around, you can also see at the bottom left-hand side of the screen, that's going to be your information. So we know our temperature, our radiation, and our toxicity of the planet. The top left is going to be your shield. That's that white bar across. The shield, and then those little pluses are your health bars. So you start off with 3. As you progress in the game, you can get upgrades, and it will increase those health bars as well. And your shield, will get tougher and tougher. So I'm lucky here. We're on a hot planet, but we're right next to a cave. So this is a very, very good start. If you want to, or if you are able to, look around for a cave. So you'll see caves randomly on a planet. They're all over. Every planet has a cave. You just might not be next to it. So if you just run around a little bit, you'll be able to look around and try to see like a gap in the ground. So I love the cave. So number one, it protects you from the elements. If you go into a cave, like if you're on the outside, it doesn't really matter. But if you're inside a cave, it'll protect you from the elements. Get in here, and you'll notice So I'm undercover just barely. Like I'm under this little tiny ridge right here. But I'm still protected from the elements, so now my hazard protection is going back up. As you're running around a planet, depending on the planet type, like if you're on a toxic planet, your toxicity will go down. It'll drain your hazard protection. And if we press our select button, you'll go into your inventory menu. So this is our weapon. This is our multi-tool. And we can attach weapons. We have a scanner on here. We have a mining beam. This is going to be your end-all, be-all like tool in No Man's Sky. And you can get different ones. So right now, they start you off with a C-class weapon. This is just the generic one. As we progress in the game, you'll find different ones that you can buy or that are given to you. Or you can grab them out of a box and they'll be broken. You have to fix them, that kind of stuff. But we'll get that later. Then we have our starship. This is our starting starship, the Radiant Pillar. This is going to be broken. So we have a broken launch thruster, a broken engine. We have shields and one weapon, which is always going to be a photon cannon, and a rocket, which is our second weapon. So you'll notice this is too far away, though. So we need to go find our ship. And then we have our suit. This is your inventory. So the top is going to be your technology. This is where all your upgrades are going to go. You can upgrade your jetpack. You can upgrade your life support. You can upgrade your hazard protection for survival. You can upgrade a whole bunch of stuff, but all those upgrades have to go on this top row over here. And then we have our cargo. This is like the back. This is the inventory where you can put all your random items that you pick up. So, first things first, let's get some cobalt. It's an unidentified material, but we're going to need this for later on. If you find a cave, definitely get some cobalt. It is very, very useful. A lot of the items you find that you can mine with your mining beam, they are going to be really, really the basic building blocks of other things you can do. Like if you want to build materials or upgrades, you're going to need cobalt and ferrite dust and carbon and all that kind of stuff. So I'd highly suggest find a cave, find a whole bunch of cobalt, because this will help you out later on. Now you're going to notice, look at that, sometimes you find a rock that doesn't count. It's more of the terrain. Like I can't get that one. I can't get this plant here. I can get this one here. Oh, no, that's a rock over there. We got some there. Now let's run around. And you'll notice I'm hitting run. So if I click in the right thumbstick, I'm running. If you click in the left thumbstick, it's your scanner. But our scanner is broken. We don't have a scanner yet. We need to find some ferrite dust in order to fix that. So now we have our tutorial box that comes up on the right-hand side. You'll see this box pop up a lot. So, you know, just be aware of that. And I'm going to press B if you're on Xbox or PlayStation. It's going to be O to kind of lower that box. We don't need to know that yet. And then the bottom right is always going to be a tool tip or a helpful hint on what you should do next. It's not what you need to do or absolutely necessary, but it's like, hey, look, you might want to go do that real fast. Let's get some carbon. Oh, yeah. There we are. So we need to find some ferrite dust, and that's usually going to come out of rocks. So we need to find some rocks. And you'll notice, again, these are all texture rocks, so they don't really count. Anytime you hover your cursor over something, it'll tell you what it is. So here's a rock right here, unidentified mineral. Let's break this open and get some ferrite dust. That way we can fix our scanner. This one here. That one there. Then we got these little tiny ones. And so the size of the rock matters. Now you'll notice I'm hitting my laser and you see that little overheat thing come up? Oh, heat warning? That means your laser is going to get overheated and it'll stop working. So if I do this, if I just use it and use it and use it, it'll overheat and then boom, overheated. So now I can't use my laser. I got to wait for it to cool down. Now, the trick with that is a laser does more damage the hotter it gets. So right now you see I'm doing 40 damage. But if I keep holding it down, it'll start going up. So now I'm doing 46, 50 as it gets hotter and hotter. So yeah, you want it to be hot. So the trick for this is keep it as hot as you can while not overheating. So you want to use it a little bit. Oh, I ran out of fuel. Dang it. So dang it, we ran out of fuel. But you want to keep the laser hot while not overheating. So use the laser for a while, and then when you get that overheat meter, then kind of release it a little bit for like a second and then use it again, and then release it for a second and use it again. That way you're kind of throttling the heat. But we are out of fuel. So there's two ways to refuel your different items. Number one, you can always go into your inventory menu. If you select the thing, it'll ask you, hey, look, do you want to refill it with fuel? You can use carbon, condensed carbon, or phosphorus. You can use either one of these. Or what you can do is press down on your D-pad. That'll bring up your quick menu. This is a quick menu while you're playing the game. And this little battery icon is your recharge. And so we can recharge all of our equipment. So we have life support, our hazard protection, all this stuff is in here. Let's go mining beam. And again, we have the same resources here. We have our carbon, condensed carbon, and phosphorus. And you'll notice it says 80, and then in brackets, there's a 56. So the 56 is how much you need to totally recharge it. The 80 on the outside, that's how much you have. So 80 is your total. 56 is what it's going to use to recharge your item. So now, if we go back in here, we're only at 70. Oh, so never mind. I got it flipped around. My mistake. Sorry about that. So never mind. Reverse that. So the 80 was what we needed. The 56 was what we had. My apologies on that. That's confusing. So 56 was what we had. 80 is what we needed. So let's get some more carbon here. So we're going to look for plants. A little animal walking around here. Sorry, buddy. Looking for a plant. That looks like a plant over here. Nope, this is all rocks. Rocks. That a plant? That is a plant. So you'll notice a pattern here. Ferrite dust comes from rocks, from minerals. Carbon comes from plants. And there's all kinds of different plants that are out here. And every planet is going to have different plants. So if you're on a fire planet, it will look different than the toxic planet. Those plants will look different. And there's frozen, there is like radiation planets. There's all kinds of different planets, and they're going to have different types of plants and rocks. Rocks really don't change very much, but the plants will, and the animals will. There we are, there we are. We got more, we got more. All right, so now let's double check this. So I have 215 carbon, right? If I go into my multi-tool, 215 is in the brackets. That's how much you have. The 33 on the outside is how much it needs to refill. So I had that flipped around earlier. So keep that in mind. I was not telling the whole truth on that last tip. So there we go. And we do have our 75 ferrite dust in order to fix our scanner. And so we could totally do that right now. We should probably do that. That way I can scan for stuff. So let's fix that. We need to select the broken thing. And it'll tell you whatever item you need, that's what it'll highlight. So for this, I need 75 ferrite dust. For other more advanced technology, you might need more advanced materials. But because it's the beginning of the game, they give you a 75. You know, ferrite dust, which is easy to get. So now we have our scanner, which now we can scan for items. If you press your left thumbstick in, you can scan for items, and it'll show you, oh, there's dihydrogen over there, these little letters, these diamonds, oxygen over there. So that's what the scanner does. It'll scan for an area around you. And you can upgrade that scanner. You can get better scanners. You can also get better multi-tools that will scan for a larger area. So keep that in mind. Your multi-tool and your upgrades will affect that area that you're scanning. We have condensed carbon here. This is going to be in more advanced materials, so we want to get these. And then we have our dihydrogen here. Let's grab all these. Beautiful. Now, another thing you want to do is, while you're in here, you'll see if I highlight a box, it says install technology. So you can install certain technology upgrades if you've learned them. And from the beginning, you only have a limited number of items you can install, blueprints you know. As we progress through the game, you can buy different blueprints, basically learn different blueprints. That way you can make more things. So if we install, we have a personal force field that goes on our multi-tool. We have a weapon, which is a bolt caster, basic weapon. And then we have an analysis visor. This is very important. I would highly recommend, in the beginning, building this thing. So Install it. We don't have the material. So it's there, but you see it has a gear icon and it's flashing blue. That means it's not built. It's there, it's taking up room, but we can't use it because it's not totally built. We need a carbon nanotube. Let's go back to our exosuit. And if we hover over a box, it'll have crafting products. So these are the basic things that we know how to build right now. Again, later on, you're going to learn different recipes and different blueprints to build way more advanced items, but to begin with, they give you the basics, the essentials. So here's our list. We can make an ion battery, which is good for our hazard protection. We can also make our carbon nanotube. It takes 50 carbon. But another thing to keep in mind is if you need to make more than one, like if I need more than one carbon nanotube, you can hit left and right bumper, and you see it says build 2 or build 1. And as you do that, the price will go up. So right now it's 50 carbon. If I want to make 2, it'll be 100. And you can go as high as you can for as much materials as you have. So I only have 180 carbon, so it only allows me to make 3 of the carbon nanotubes because there's 150. We only need 1, so I'm going to go back to 1. Left and right on your left and right bumper are R1 and L1 if you're on PlayStation. So let's bring 1. There we go. And now let's install that. There we are. So now we have a visor. So if we're running around, we have a scanner, which is our left click on our thumbstick. But if you want to actually look at items, if you press your left trigger, there you go. It brings up your visor, which you can use to scan items. You can also look around and say, oh, there's a burial site right there. There's a burial site right there. There's different items, pulpy roots. There is an unknown building right over here. So we can kind of see what's around us. And it allows us to kind of see in the distance. And again, this is going to be limited by your upgrades and your multi-tool. But we have a limited vision set of where we can go. But we can also scan an animal, like this guy right here. You see he has a red dot? That means we've never scanned him. And over on the left-hand side of the screen, it says unknown and it has question marks all over it because we don't know what this is. But if you scan it, number 1, you get paid $1,000. So we got paid $1,000 for scanning that little animal. But number 2, you'll notice now we have all the information about it over on the left-hand side of the screen. We know that the age is elderly for this animal. Its gender is radical. All right, so you have all that information. The main reason you want to do that is for the money. You get paid money for everything you scan. And you can scan rocks. You can scan plants. So if I want to scan this rock over here, there you are. I only got paid $200 for the rock because rocks are more common. They don't give you very much money. Same thing for the plants. If I scan a plant, it gives me 500. So not very much. The animals are more rare. That's why they give you a little bit more money. However, there is another reason to scan stuff. So if I'm running around randomly and I'm looking at stuff like, oh, what's this? A rock over here. Let's do land right here. But you'll notice when I look at it, it's unidentified. So I've never scanned it before. However, it says pure ferrite. And then underneath that, it says analyze with question marks around it. And then right below that, it says advanced mining laser required. That means I need to upgrade my mining laser to even get this thing. If I try to get it, nothing happens. I need an advanced mining laser to get this. But what's up with that question mark? It says analyze. Well, if you scan this thing with your visor, you analyze it, you get paid your money. However, now if I look at it, it has pure ferrite and carbon. So not every material, not every item will do this, but there's a lot of rocks and plants that will have double materials. So now if I destroy this, I will get pure ferrite and carbon. The downside is you will not get that carbon until you scan it. So if I scanned, oh, there's another double that we can do easy. Of course, there's no other doubles around here. But you kind of know what I'm talking about. There we go. And that one's a double already. Of course, I'm never going to find another one. No doubles. No doubles. Come on. No doubles anywhere? There we go. Here you go. So here's a rock. It's not scanned yet, but if I destroy it, it'll give me ferrite dust. If I scan it, I'll get another material. Even if you don't scan it though, you won't get that second material. So if I do this, oh yeah, in the top right, all I got was ferrite dust. I didn't get anything for that secondary. So you want to scan it. That way you get your secondary item. So now I'll get ferrite dust and sodium. So if I do this, I got ferrite dust and let's see, I got 1 sodium out of there. 1 sodium. So that's what you want to do. You want to make sure to scan it before you destroy it. That way you get that other material. So now that we've kind of collected some materials here, let's head towards our ship. Because it's broken, we need to go fix it. So our ship is in that direction. And once you install your multi-tool analysis visor, your visor, you'll be able to see this all the time. It'll always have the location of your ship marked for you. So let's run over there. Now you'll notice something I did earlier and I didn't mention. There's this jetpack jump we do that really launches you, right? Normally you don't do that. If you just hit your jetpack, it just flies up in the air and it doesn't do anything. The trick is you want a melee attack, which is going to be your left or right bumper, or R1 if you're on PlayStation. You want a melee attack. And what happens is, while you melee attack and you use your jetpack, your character model is actually in a forward-leaning direction. And so when you use your jetpack, it launches you through the air. But because you're leaning forward, it launches you forward. So if you combine that with running, we'll run, and then melee jetpack. Look at that. It launches you forward, so you go faster forward. Keep in mind, you can take damage if you go too fast or you fall too far. So keep that in mind. You do this, and you land. So if you fall too far, you'll take a little bit of fall damage. Let me show you what that looks like. So if I jump off of this, for instance, I will get fall damage because I'm falling too far. Boom. And took a little bit of my shield. You see that white bar got shorter in the top left-hand side. So it takes your shield first, and after your shield is gone, you will start taking health damage. So you don't want that to happen. So you want to be chill. You don't want to go crazy with that jetpack jump. I'm guilty of doing that. I will just constantly be jumping and doing this. Constantly. And you'll take a lot of damage by doing that, so just be careful with that. As you get more shield upgrades and health upgrades, it'll be less of an issue, but in the beginning, you have nothing. You have no upgrades whatsoever. You have the bare essentials, so be careful with that. Oh, and look at this. We have a broken machinery right here, damaged machinery. So you're going to see these randomly everywhere. So as you just look around, you'll see smoking everywhere. These will be out there. You want to open these up because they have randomized items in there. Sometimes it'll just be currency, which is nanites, which is like a money you can use. Sometimes it'll give you a random item. So let's open this up. And this viscous fluid is junk. You see it says junk underneath it. So you don't need to keep this. You can use it, but we're not going to talk about that right now. Well, all you need to consider yourself with right now is it is junk. So let's get rid of it by pressing the right stick in. You click it in, and it's junked. And we got 33 nanites. So we got 33 of our currency in No Man's Sky in there. So if you go into your inventory, you'll notice the top left, it's Jason Plays, which is my profile, but it also has units, which is 2,100. That's the money we've got for scanning creatures and rocks and everything. But then we have nanites. This is an upgraded currency in No Man's Sky that you can earn by doing certain things like opening the damaged machinery, or if you sell technology upgrades, they'll give you nanites for it. And then we have our very rare and special Quicksilver. This is a currency that's given to you for special tasks. So for doing special missions or for completing special objectives, you're going to get Quicksilver. It's very rare to get this, so hold on to that. It's very special. We'll run into this later on. Anyway, we've gotten to our ship. Let's get over here and see what's going on. Oh, look, we have another damaged machinery over here. So let's open this thing up. We're going to get rid of the junk again. And you'll notice it went away immediately. Like it went away really quickly. Yours will take time. So if you want to, go into your options, press your pause menu, go into your options, go to your accessibility, and right here to hold to confirm. Mine is always instant. I have mine set to that, but by default, it will be hold for important. So what that means is if I go to delete something, like this sodium, if I go to delete it, it'll slowly build up. You see that circle filling up? That way you don't accidentally delete something important. And I've done that plenty of times. So if you hold it down, then it'll delete it. It takes like 2 seconds to delete something. So they let you have a time to register like, oh yeah, I need that thing. Or, oh, no, I don't want that thing. I want to get rid of it. However, if you press your pause, go into your accessibility menu, you can change this to hold to important, hold for destructive. So it'll go quick on everything except for destroying things. By destroying something, you still need to hold it down, or always instant. So it'll always be instant. You don't have to hold down that button for anything, which is kind of nice. So I have mine set to that. Depending on your preference, if you want to be more careful, or if you're like me and you're not paying attention, sometimes you delete things that are important. Maybe don't do that. Maybe always keep it to hold for important or hold for destructive. That's a good middle ground. So it'll be quick on everything except for destroying stuff. So maybe that's a better middle ground right there. So there we are. And while we're in the menu, I can show you guys the general stuff that I usually change. So by default, I change my temperature to Fahrenheit because I'm in America. Language is default, which is English. I'm right-handed, but you can change to left-handed for your multi-tool if you prefer that. My auto light, auto torch is enabled by default. Save automatically uploads for cross save if you have cross saves. Then, if we go down to display and graphics, I am playing on PC, so my menu is going to be a little bit larger. If you're on PlayStation or Xbox, it's going to be very small. You have very limited options here. But I'm on PC, so I play with everything set to Ultra. There you go, all that stuff. If you need to know any of my settings. Then I have network. So this is important as well. So if you start a brand new save, your multiplayer will be disabled by default, but anybody can join your group. So if you have any friends who play No Man's Sky, they can join you. Voice chat will be disabled. Text chat is anyone. But then PvP is turned on by default to anyone. I highly recommend turning this off. Make sure that's no one. Because anybody who joins your group or any multiplayer person you run into, if you have PvP turned on, they can shoot you and they can hurt you. They can damage you. So you don't want that turned on. Unless you do. Like if you want to go in and you want to fight with your friends or whatever, that is awesome. But just be aware that by default it's turned on and I don't know why. Then, you have all your other options for adding base parts. Anybody can add to your base. So if you build a base and you upload it to the servers for No Man's Sky, anybody can come by and change your base if they want to. So most people turn this to nobody. That way no one can mess with your base. Same thing for delete base parts. You can change it to just group and friends, so any of your friends can do it. Friends only. That way your friends can do it, but no one else. So if you don't know anybody, they can't change it. Only your friends. I mean, people on your friends list can do that. You can show your marker to anybody on foot markers. Edit the base terrain. You can set all this stuff to however you want. But you can also view your friends list, but this will give you your friend code right here. So if you want to add a friend, or if you want to share your friend code with anybody, you can highlight this, and it'll show you your friend code. So anybody can add you as a friend by putting in this code. And also, you can just add a friend in by doing that, and you can just put in their code right here. That way you can add in anybody you want. So keep in mind, if you don't want anyone to know your friend code, don't share this code with anybody. This is unique to your profile. So I'm on my Jason Plays profile. I can add anyone here. Anyway, we have that going on. Then we have our accessibility. So you can change your HUD scale. So if you want your HUD elements, your health bar and all that kind of stuff, your information to be larger, you can. Enlarge the UI text just by default. You can do that. I always do mine larger. It's because I'm old and my eyes don't work very well. Flash to white. A lot of people don't like the flash to white. There's a lot of flashing to white in this game. You can disable it and it'll flash to a black screen instead of a white screen. That way you don't go blind. If you're playing at night, all of a sudden there's a big white screen. It kind of messes with your eyes. I like turning that off to make it only flash to black. Map color, I always leave on default. Hazard effects. This is usually set to 100. So hazard effects are the things on the side of your screen. So when you're getting damaged by heat, you see the edges of my screen are a little bit red, saying, hey, you're getting it's really hot. But mine's set really, really low. If you set it higher, by default, it's up to 100. The higher this is, the more visually you're going to see this. So if I go to 130, now look at that. My screen is just red. It's just telling you, hey, look, you're burning alive, man. I hate having that because you can't see anything. This is just blurring the whole screen. So if you want to turn that down, go to accessibility and hazard effects. I always set mine to the lowest it will go, which is 35%. That's as low as you can get it. So now if I go back in here, it's still there, but it's on the edges. It's on the edges. So I know, oh yeah, I'm about to take heat damage. There you go. I'm about to take heat damage. That way I know. There you go. Iteration, really long number online. Atlas connection, intermittent. Launch thrusters, offline. Pulse engine, offline. All my stuff is broken in my ship. I find myself alone on a strange world, unequipped and in danger. I have no memory of how I got here, no sense of a before. But this ship at least seems to recognize me. The controls react to my touch, or at least to that of my exosuit. I'm not dead yet, and this ship is a lifeline out to the stars. Well, let's connect our exosuit to this. Log 4925A unavailable. Substituting data. Exosuit connected. Suggestion. Pilot should perform maintenance. Select desired repair path. Well, we need to repair this ship, so let's do it. Self-guided repair protocols initiated. So now it's going to teach us, hey, look, this is what you need to fix your engine, your pulse engine. So we have our objective now is to fix our ship so we can get the heck out of here. We're stuck on this planet until we can get a ship that's working. Let's go back into our menu, go back into our options, go to our accessibility. So we did hazard effects. We did our hold for destructive. You also have vibration. If you don't like your controller vibrating, you can turn this down or up, depending on what you want. Then we have our camera controls. So I always, by default, these are set to 75. This is your field of view. So what that means is how close or far away the camera is from your character. So by default, it's set to 75. Let me show you what that looks like. So camera, on foot. It's set to 75 by default. This is the default right here. So notice how my character is closer to the screen, closer to the camera. If you like your character to be closer, like you really want to look at your character, you can lower this down even more to 60. And that's really close. You notice how the screen is a little bit zoomed in now, right? But I like mine to be as far away as humanly possible. So the limit is 100% or 100 degrees. So if I do that, now I'm way zoomed out. So this is as far as it'll go. So it goes for on foot as well as in your ship. Same thing. So you have both options for you. On foot field of view and on flight, which means flying. Camera height, you can have it fixed, which is what I prefer. The eye level is the default. So the camera's height will reflect the height of your character. So by default, it is eye level. That's going to change like if you run up a mountain. So if you run up a mountain, it'll change. It'll go up and down. Whereas if it's fixed, it'll always be locked to this little bit higher view. I like mine to be a little bit higher than my character so I could see down. It does kind of kill it a little bit because you can't see up. But it also, you don't have to worry about looking down and seeing the ground because it's a little bit higher than your character, aiming down a little bit. That's why I like the fixed camera. But it's again, that's all on you, whatever you want. On foot camera, this is the default, so normal is default. If you want to be inverted, if you're an inverted player, this is where you would change that. Third-person camera movement, follow, or manual. So manual is the camera will never move unless I move it. So if I move my camera like this, my character like this, my camera never moves. So there you go. So I can run against the camera if I want to. It'll always, the camera is only looking in the direction of my cursor, right? But if I change that and I say, no, 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 it needs to follow me. So now if I move my character, look at the camera automatically moves. I'm not moving anything. The camera automatically tries to adjust at what I'm looking at. So there you go. So it'll automatically try to go to the direction I'm looking in. So some people want that. They want the camera to move on its own. You don't need to worry about it. But I like to have mine fixed just because, or manual, just because if I'm looking at something, I don't want the camera to move if I move my character. I want it to be locked on to whatever I'm looking at. And then I always turn off my vignette and scan lines on the game. It's a visual thing. You get scan lines on the screen. So if you want that CRT classic look, you can totally do that. First person head bob. So if you're in first person, as you run, the camera will bump up and down, up and down. I don't like that, so I turn mine off. Camera shake right there again. If you want to turn off camera shake, like if there's an explosion, the camera will vibrate and shake around on the screen. I like to turn mine down as low as possible without still, keeping it so I know that there's an explosion. But yeah, I keep mine at 20. And then always, well, we have the controls. If you want to change your controls, you can. Flight controls, you can do inverted if you like, or normal. Ship is locked. Prioritize your jetpack. So if you're building your base, if you want to prioritize building, if you press A, you can do that, or prioritize your jetpack. Because while you build in No Man's Sky, you can control your character at the same time. So that gets a little confusing sometimes. You can change that if you'd like. And then finally, our difficulty. Remember, we said this earlier. You can change these at any time you want unless you lock the settings. So you can lock them if you'd like, but you'll never be able to change them ever again. But again, if you play like for a couple hours and you're like, actually, you know what? I don't like the combat, so I'll just turn this off. Or combat's too easy, I'm going to make it harder. You can totally do that. You can also do like inventory transfer range, all this kind of stuff. Fishing, you can change your fishing if you want. There is a ton of options in here for you to change if you'd like. You can say, hey, look, I don't like the survival. I don't like having my hazard protection, so I'm going to turn that off. Or survival difficulty. I can make it more difficult if I want to. Natural resources, whenever you pick up like the ferrite dust and carbon, you can make that scarce so you barely pick up anything when you destroy a rock. Or make it abundant so you get a whole bunch of stuff when you destroy a rock. Very, very cool. All the stuff is here. But again, we're playing on normal, so I'm not going to change any of that stuff. So we need to repair our engine. So we need pure ferrite and dihydrogen jelly. We don't have any pure ferrite or dihydrogen jelly. Well, also for our that's for our launch thruster. For our engine, we need a hermetic seal and metal plating. We might be able to make a metal plating. Yes, we can. See, it highlights it for you. We need 50 ferrite dust. We got that. Easy. So we can install that one piece. Done and done on that one. But we also need the other piece. We don't know where that is. Oh, did we open this already? We did. Okay. So we fixed one piece, but we don't have the other one. Iteration long number. Functional. Starship critically damaged. Vital ingredient missing. We cannot make a hermetic seal. That's the thing we don't know how to make. We don't have the blueprint for that. Unable to synthesize required components. Pulse engine requires a hermetic seal. Well, I need help. Recommendation. Iteration comparison reveals hermetic seal nearby. Salvage planetary chart from distress beacon cache. So if you go back in there, we go back into our inventory. If we try to make a hermetic seal, we don't have the recipe. See, we don't have it in our list. We don't know how to make it. But we need it to fix our engine. We just don't have it. So we need to find one. We need to find the recipe. And in order to do that, we're going to need to open up this distress beacon. Scenario, iteration, something deleted. Boundary separation failure, likely. Vessel 16 emptied. Cause, Sentinel intervention. Deliberate transfer. Analysis. Fresh iteration generated. Anomaly containment prepared. Let's broadcast. Broadcast received. Traveler anomaly detected. Anomaly is compliant. Position logged. System integrity scan initialized. A red light fills my vision. All I see is crimson, and then it fades. The color drains, and the words that had seemed so clear seem to slip away. I peer inside the beacon's housing. As well as its distress beacon unit, it also contains a planetary chart. Well, let's take that thing. So planetary charts are going to be a chart that will look for a specific item. So in this case, it's going to find a hermetic seal nearby. But you can buy charts for finding crashed ships or finding inhabited buildings or secured buildings later on. There are all kinds of different charts that you can pick up. Right now, we are going to fire off this one that's going to find our hermetic seal. It's a special one. It's a unique one that they give you in the beginning of the game. So you're going to press X if you're on Xbox or square if you're on PlayStation. And now it'll look for a nearby location that has the recipe for our hermetic seal. And it says, okay, it's right over there, and it's going to be nearby. So, there we go. 1,000 or 897 feet away is where our location is going to be. Now, be prepared. On the way, we're going to run into a storm for the first time. So, I would highly recommend, we were in a cave earlier, and we got a whole bunch of cobalt. We can make batteries. This is going to recharge our hazard protection. I would recommend making more batteries. Now, notice how I made one, but if I hover over it, it says X to craft more. So if you have the materials in order to craft it, you can make more. So if I just tap it, yeah, it's making more and more and more. Just keep tapping the button here. X if you're on Xbox, square if you're on PlayStation. And now I'm out of it. So now it says, sorry, you need 4 more cobalt to make another battery. It will tell you, hey, look, you don't have any materials. You need this thing in order to make another one if you want to make it. So there we go. And then you guys know I always organize my inventory. So I always try to keep almost color coordinated, but not really. So I'll keep my ferrite dust over on the left-hand side, but then there's other ingredients that are close to ferrite dust. So you have silicate powder that I usually put below it, ferrite dust, pure ferrite, which is a more refined version of ferrite dust, and then magnetized ferrite, which is the most refined version of ferrite. Anyway, we have all that. Let's pick up the oxygen right here. The little plants that we have that we can pick. And let's go get our hermetic seal, which is over here. And remember, you can do your jetpack jump. So do that. Pick up some sodium while we're running through here. Excuse me, little guys. So as we get closer, remember, there's going to be a storm that comes in. This is basically to teach you about your hazard protection. Every planet has random storms that happen. So, oh, I shouldn't say that, everyone. There are a majority of planets will. You can find paradise planets that will never have a storm. So you can get lucky with that, but those are very rare. Most of the planets will either be like a hot planet, a cold planet, a toxic planet. Like on a cold planet, you'll run into blizzards. On a hot planet, it'll be a superheated storm. Wall of flame detected, so we have a hot storm coming. So let's keep going. So you notice I picked up that blue plant. That will give you a jetpack over boost for about 20 seconds. So keep that in mind. You don't have a lot, maybe even 10 seconds. So keep that in mind. If you pick up that blue plant, it'll basically overload your jetpack for about 10 seconds. So you have unlimited jetpack for 10 seconds. So yeah, we have a storm going on. If you see the bottom left-hand side of my screen, you see it says storm above my hazard protection, that red bar. And my bar is draining faster than usual. During a storm, your hazard protection will drain way faster. So what you need to do is either use sodium or the batteries we picked up. Quick menu, you can use sodium or batteries right here. And now it'll refill it, but again, we're still in the middle of a storm, so it'll keep draining over and over again until you find protection, either inside of a building or If you find a cave like we did earlier in the video, you can hide in a cave as well, and that'll protect you. But we need to get over here into this building that has our cool blueprint for our hermetic seal. So let's get over here. Open up this damaged machinery while we're out here. Get rid of the junk. Sorry, I thought it was instant. There we are, and done. We got our nanites. So let's get in here. And now we are protected from the elements. We're inside, so we're good. And let's open up this hollow archive. Accessing archive. 6 of 7 logs corrupted. Entry 4924A follows. No one. And it cuts out. Making this recording in case. Cuts out again. Leaving behind something in the fabricator. Cuts out. Might be of some use. Visor is damaged. Cuts out. I can't find ship. So let's recover the supplies he left. The log finishes and the machine whirls to life, spitting out supplies. I have the hermetic seal I need to repair my ship. Whoever it was that led me here, whoever that left this message, perhaps they found themselves in the same situation as I do now. So we found a hermetic seal, and now we have the blueprint. So if you go into your menu, you'll notice now we can build a hermetic seal. We need condensed carbon, but they also give you one as a gift as well. So you don't have to worry about like, oh no, I don't have one. We have one now. So let's go back out, and we have to go back to our ship. And we have to install this thing now that we have it. So let's get some materials as we go, because again, these are all free materials. Once we get to, off the ship or off the planet using our ship, we'll be able to find like markets and the space stations, and you can buy upgrades and materials and all that kind of stuff. But you need money for that, so keep that in mind as well. You need money to get all that stuff. So early on, you're not going to have very much money. So you're going to need to farm up a whole bunch of stuff using your mining laser in order to do that. Let's keep going. And let's grab some sodium. And just as we're going along, just trucking along, getting that. And then you will notice these plants. There are going to be random plants all over the planets that are hazardous. If you pull out your visor, they have a red exclamation point on them. They are hazardous plants. And if you find them in caves, they're like poisonous. If you find them out in the wild, like this one is a whippy plant. So if you get close to it, it whips you and causes a little bit of damage. There are other ones that will snap on you like a Venus flytrap. There are other ones that will explode like poisonous gas around you. So just keep your eyes peeled for that kind of stuff. If you see a weird plant, pull out your visor and look at it. And if it has a red exclamation point, that means it's hazardous or dangerous. Let's keep going here. Grab some more materials while I can. And look at, I'm doing less damage because my laser's not hot. So I'm going to hold it down and let it warm up a little bit. And then continue on. And boom, there you go. Look at that. Boom. Let it go. And pull it again. So you want to keep it warm. Like we said earlier, you want to keep that laser warm. That way it's doing more damage. It'll be very fast at destroying stuff. It's doing way more damage. Instead of doing 40, I'm doing 100. So I'm doing over, 2.5 times the damage just by my laser being warm. So yeah, just do that while I'm collecting the materials. And just keep it hot. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, there's some other aliens flying around here. So let's get into our ship. We have our hermetic seal. Let's fix this thing. So I got in my ship because if you're inside of your ship, you're protected from the elements. That's another reason to stay close to your ship. That way you don't have to worry about, getting burned or whatever planet you're on. Let's install our hermetic seal. So now our engine's working, but we can't take off because we don't have a launch thruster yet. We need to fix this as well. So we need pure ferrite and dihydrogen jelly. So we can make dihydrogen jelly. That's one of our ingredients we can make. So we need 50 or 40 dihydrogen, the blue crystals that we were farming up earlier. If you get 40 of them, you can make a jelly out of it. So now we have a jelly. Let's install that jelly. But the other thing we need is pure ferrite. Now, pure ferrite is very hard to come by early on because we need an advanced mining beam in order to even get it. So if I come over here and look at it, I have pure ferrite right there. I can get it, except for I don't have an upgraded laser, so I cannot actually get it. So there's another way to get this. So if you don't have an advanced mining beam, you can refine things in order to get it. So in order to make a refiner, if you press up on your D-pad, it'll bring up your buildable menu. And right now we only know how to build a portable refiner. So if we have it, there we are. So we are missing components. We need metal plating and oxygen in order to make a portable refiner. So let's make a metal plating real fast. So now we can put down our portable refiner. There we are. And if we access our portable refiner, you need to put fuel in here in order to have it work. So it uses carbon or condensed carbon in order to make, in order to burn it for fuel. Put that in there. And now you'll notice if you put anything in there, you'll get a little bit of a setup here. So if we put sodium in there, it'll turn into sodium nitrate, which is a more refined version of sodium. But you'll also notice there's a little number right next to the box when you put it in there. It says 2 to 1. So it takes 2 sodium to make 1 sodium nitrate. So that's what that little number means. If I take that out, put it away, let's put in dihydrogen. It takes 30 dihydrogen in order to make 1 jelly. So you get a little bit of a discount if you make it in the refiner. However, it's going to take a lot longer, as you can see. In our inventory, it's instantaneous. We can make a jelly. In the refiner, it's going to take us 3 minutes, so a minute each for each jelly, but it'll use 10 less resources. So there's a benefit to using the refiner. If we put in our ferrite dust, 1 to 1, so 1 ferrite dust can refine down into 1 pure ferrite. Let's do that, and look how fast it goes. Now we need 50 pure ferrite in order to fix our ship. So let's stop it there. And we have 68 pure ferrite. We can put that away in our suit, pick up our ferrite dust, put it in our suit, and we are done. We can fix our ship. So let's put the pure ferrite in our ship. And we're done. Now, a portable refiner is not permanent. You can pick this up and take it with you. So if you press in your right thumbstick, instead of deleting it, what it will do is pick it up. So now our portable refiner is in our inventory. If I look at my inventory, there it is right there, portable refiner. So we can have that with us no matter where we are. I highly recommend doing that because you're going to need that later on anyway. So might as well, right? So there we go. So now anytime we land on a planet, you need to land somewhere because you need to put down the portable refiner. You actually have to build it on the ground. You can't use it while it's in your inventory. You have to place it. So let's get in here. All systems are functional. So now we can take off. So guys, hopefully you got really, you liked the video and hit that like button for me. Hopefully there are some tips, some stuff you learned from this video. If you did, hit the like button as well. And in the next episode, we are going to take off on our ship and we're going to go travel the system we're in. We're going to see what other planets we have here. So I will see you guys next time.